It's the season finale of the Gold Zone. We're talking draft, and we're talking a little Blake Bortles too, because why the hell not? Boys and girls, one last time. Let's hit it.
I love gold.
What's up, everybody? Sorry about that. We're having a little bit of an issue here. I'm moving a little bit slower than the average person. 5:30 comes early, in case anybody was wondering. This is the Gold Zone. I am Jacob Westendorf. I'm your host, live as always in the Game On Wisconsin studios. And I'm joined by my much more handsome counterpart with the same namesake, and that is Jake Morley. Jake, how are we doing?
I'm good, man. It's been a while since we've been here. It feels like, right? We didn't go last week, and a lot's happened. Lots happened since the last time we have spoken, Jacob. And we got the man, the myth, the legend here to talk about some of that stuff going on too. So I'll let you introduce him, man. But I'm excited about this one tonight.
That we do, formerly of Bleacher Report, and before that, the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel, and before that, even Packer Report, and some other newspaper in Shawano that I can't remember the name of. So, Ty, I'll let you give a shout out to your initial place. But Tyler Dunne of GoLongTD.com has joined us. Ty, welcome to the show.
Great to be here, fellas. It's the Shawano leader, too, by the way. It was a fun summer internship. I think that was that might have been the summer that Brett Favre tried to take his job back. So it was good baptism by fire on the Packers beat. But great to be here, man. We've all come full circle since then, huh?
I guess so. So we're here to talk about, the draft and Green Bay's prospects and their roster, and nothing else has happened, right? No, I mean, come on, guys. We know the deal at this point. We're going to talk about the quarterback situation. And since that news hit, Ty, correct me, you've written 3 pieces just since last Thursday about the Packers. One about Ron Wolf, which was incredible. The ability to speak with a Hall of Famer like that, I think, is got to be some kind of privilege that maybe one day I'll find, but that's pretty damn cool. And then one on Jordan Love, and then one with your stance on what basically the way I would frame it is if you were Brian Gutekunst, what you would do is trade Aaron Rodgers, which I thought was interesting. So we're going to get into all of that. Morley, it's your show. I'm just here. I'm kind of the brains behind the operation, but not really. I'll let you start. Where do you want to take this? What direction?
Man, there's a lot of different directions we could go with this tonight, right? But first, Ty, I have to say, man, in 2019, when you came out with the Aaron Rodgers smear piece, for my initial reaction was, what? Like, come on, really? And now, and me, like, as myself, like, it has, like, you talk about coming full circle. It's got to, I mean, just personally for you, you got to feel pretty good. You got to feel pretty vindicated that they're like, hey, guys, I was not crazy. Like, this stuff was going on. I was just reporting it. And now this has kind of all come to the surface. And I know it's weird, and you're a pro's pro, so, like, it's tough to talk about, to say, like, yeah, I'm glad that this, because you're going to stand behind your work. And so good for you, man. And the fact that, like, I went back and reread that article just 2 days ago. And if you haven't done that as a Packers fan, if you were skeptical the first time you read it, I would urge you to go back and read it and look at all the stuff that Ty talked about with the sources and all that stuff. And just read it with a new set of eyes. Because, Ty, like, it really is kind of become like a centerpiece for this whole ordeal that's going on this time. So I want to ask you personally, I mean, how do you feel now? Because I'm sure, Ty, I'm sure you have read some really nasty Twitter.com comments about that article. So how do you feel now, like 2 years removed from that, just kind of being like, yeah, I told you guys.
Well, I appreciate the kind words there, Jake. That's super, super generous of you to say that. And, I'm being completely honest. I never took anything personal. I know it's a cliche thing to say, but I really didn't. I mean, I get the passion of Packer fans. It's raw. It's real. I knew that when I wrote a story like that it would elicit a reaction not only from the fans, but from the quarterback themselves. I mean, one of the Packer sources I talked to that was pretty high up said, look, if you put this out there, he is going to respond because this is exactly the kind of thing that gets him going, and it's part of what makes him great, right? And if something pisses him off, Aaron Rodgers is going to use it. So I knew that there would be this reaction, and you mentioned Twitter.com. I think there was, I went on there, like, no one's, to take it through the whole sequence, really, when I wrote this story, I feel like the majority of the reaction was like, whoa, wow. People, they did want to learn what happened because it was pretty ugly in 2018. I mean, they're 6-9-1. The head coach is getting fired. Aaron Rodgers doesn't look like himself. I mean, I was just trying to figure out what the hell happened and ask everybody that I could. And when you do that, guess what? Some people, they might not want to put their name to it. They want to speak freely without the possibility of being just sent out to the cornfield forever and never welcomed back to Lambeau Field. So I do think that. Sorry, Jake. Let me check my audio. Is audio better?
Everything's kind of echoey and going nuts. I was just asking, do you have headphones or something like that?
Yeah, I got my headphones in right now.
Oh, that's interesting. Then I'm not sure what's going on from a technical side of things. Yeah, everything you're saying is like echoing, and you sound kind of like a robot. So
you sound right now. You sound like Optimus Prime standing behind a door talking through a tin can. It's kind of awesome.
Well, let's see. I just went into a mic echo cancellation chat. Gosh, we know what to tell it. I don't.
Something we can do. How about you try? Jake and I'll segue a little bit. How about you try going out, unplug the headphones, and
Sure.
I think that's the problem. So we'll get to Tyler. Thank you, Patty, for checking up on that. I thought maybe I was the only one who could hear it, but appreciate that. We're going to have Ty jump out and then come back in. But, Jake, I like that you let off there because I said something last week on, Twitter.com that somebody said along the lines of, oh, he wrote this, he wrote that. And I was like, is anybody kind of realizing that, he was right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of what has, come to the light to some degree, at least. I think that, we don't know everything, either obviously with the Adam Schefter stuff and then everything like that. One thing that we do know is Aaron Rodgers is unhappy, and it appears to be because they drafted his successor a season ago. And, we'll get to this with Ty here when he figures out what's going on, and then we'll kind of jump back here. And then, the other, it's just an interesting dynamic with him at this point, where we've gone and where we've gotten. And it's like, would telling Aaron last year that they're taking a quarterback have changed anything? I don't think it would have. I think he just would have been pissed off 20 seconds earlier.
Right. And I think it was Wildy and Tausch today. I give them credit for this on ESPN Wisconsin, talking about like what level of input should Aaron Rodgers have. And if it's anything higher than 2.5, like that's about it. Like that's about what being a Hall of Fame quarterback should get you, as far as, hey man, like, what do you think? What do you think about doing this? Nah, that's a terrible idea. Cool. Thanks for your input. And then still do it. Like, no one's bigger than the G.
So for anybody that saw that, the topic came from Joe Thomas. Actually talked about this on our network yesterday at Lombardi's Bar. And he said that he would basically make Rodgers the player GM for the next 2 years and give him that full commitment. And he talked about accountability, and that to me, and I promise you, there are people that agree with him, and they absolutely want Rodgers in control of things. My response to that would have been the receiving core tomorrow, if they played tomorrow, would still be Adams, Nelson, Cobb, James Jones, and Jake Kumaro. So
Yeah.
2 fossils, a guy who's on his way out with Randall Cobb, Devontae Adams, and Jake Kumaro, the straw that broke the camel's back. So we've got Ty back. Ty, you were talking about, just your story from 2019, and if there's any vindication, I guess at this point that you feel better, and you sound much better. So
Is that better? Are we good?
Great.
We're in such a good spot.
Oh my God. Well, you know what? You just blindly push a bunch of buttons and just, hope for the best. So let's give this another shot, fellas. No vindication. Like I was saying when I was all echoey, I never took anything personal. I really mean that. I don't take it personal because the passion of Packer fans, it's awesome. It's real. It's special. It's why I loved covering the team at the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. I mean, you can write a story on the third string tight end, and everybody's going to go nuts. I mean, there's how many beats are like that? So, yeah, I mean, you just stay off Twitter for a week. I think I was on there, and somebody was like, yeah, why don't you go find a rope in your basement and go hang yourself? I'm like, all right, I'm going to delete the app.
Gosh.
I didn't care. I just laughed about it. I didn't care. I just stayed away.
But I'm just not.
Yeah, I mean, just pretend like it doesn't exist, and it doesn't exist. And what I was saying, too, like when I wrote this story, I think that a lot of fans really did want to learn, and they had an open mind about it, and they wanted to know what was going on with this team. I mean, they were 6-9-1. The head coach was fired. Aaron Rodgers doesn't look like Aaron Rodgers. Like, what happened here? And that's what I did. I mean, I talked to, I can't even remember how many people. And yeah, a lot of them wanted to speak anonymously, to speak freely without the repercussions of being a pariah and not welcome back to Lambeau Field, which I get. I don't have to say their names, but 2 guys who are willing to put their names to it. I mean, they can go on this show because it'd be, the fans would chastise them, right? Like, which by the way, Ryan Grant, I thought he was really honest too, but his name doesn't get thrown in there as well. But when that story comes out, and people are learning a lot, I think that they did have an open mind for the most part. And then, as expected, Aaron Rodgers, I think it was 2 or 3 days later, sits down, goes through it, and tries to get that narrative back on track. And it was after that obviously things kind of swung, and that's when I saw some of the nasty stuff. And, I thought about responding at the time, and I didn't want to get into a big pissing match. I didn't think it was worth it. I thought it was best just to let the story speak for itself, and that if I just didn't say anything, that would say plenty. And yeah, I mean, here we are 2 years later. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, I told you so. No, I mean, he's obviously, and as I wrote then, I mean, he's one of the best quarterbacks to ever play the game. And you are willing to put up with a certain amount of drama, headache, whatever you want to say, in management if you have an Aaron Rodgers on your team. It's just at what point is enough enough? At what point do you say, you know what, fine, all right, we're going to trade you, we're going to get 2 first, 2 seconds players, we drafted Jordan Love, and we're going to go to a new era. It sounds crazy to even think of life after Aaron Rodgers, but if this thing drags on and they're offering him all this money and they're offering him extensions and they're offering him the best team he could possibly have around him as they have, I don't know what else you do with your Packers. And that's why I wrote it's time to trade and get something for him.
Yeah, and I think when you look at, like, so if you want to put your nuts on the table and say, hey, we think Jordan Love is the guy, then do it. Like that, this is the point in time where you do that. And maybe it's just all jockeying to get to June 1st. Like, hey, if we can't get this thing done, then, hey, man, we're going to let you go. And we're going to go with the guy that, again, we traded up in the first round for last year because we believe in him. And now we're going to trade up with this offense that, despite what 12 might think, we think is very loaded. We think it was good enough to be the number 1 scoring offense in the NFL last year. And yes, 12, you had a big part in that. But we think 10 can also get us to a very proficient point as far as our offense goes. Oh, and then, by the way, we're going to add all these resources, top-end resources that we're going to be able to surround him with. And I know in the last week or so, the Devontae stuff now has started to come out as well, which I totally get where Devontae Adams is coming from. Like, he'd have to be insane, right, to say, hey, do you want to re-up with the Packers? Well, is 12 going to be here? Like, I get that. Like, you should think that if you're 17. You honestly should think that, because Devontae is going to be good no matter where he goes, but I don't think he's as good as he is without 12. And so to say, yeah, do I want to re-up or not, whatever. So, like, there's going to be some blowback if 12 isn't the guy. But ultimately, guys, I mean, Aaron Rodgers is going to be the quarterback for the Packers next year. Like I still, and Ty, I know you're just like, man, trade him, like get rid of him, let's go. And I'm honestly in that camp. Like I am in that camp. Like if I were Goody, and if some of the trade rumors that were floating around on draft night were true, which who knows if those are true, but just to put in perspective, we're talking. I mean, what I heard was 3 first-round picks from Denver, Jerry Jeudy, Bradley Chubb, and boom, Aaron Rodgers is yours. I would have taken that trade so fast your head would spin, because I like Jordan Love when he came out, and I believe in Matt LaFleur. And Ty, you wrote an article just before all this stuff came out, and you were kind of like the lone person that was like, hey, the Packers are like the one team that is actually good at doing this, and they've done it before, and who are we to say that they shouldn't be doing it again, because it worked out really well for them last time. So talk to us a little bit about your thoughts on kind of being in the camp of, roll with Love and let's do this thing.
Doesn't have apocalyptic. On the other side of a Hall of Fame quarterback, he doesn't need doomsday and oh my god, the world is gonna end. It wasn't that way before. Look, I get it. I mean, what you don't know what you don't, right? Right now, all we hear is beat out the second string quarterback who isn't even there anymore. He couldn't beat him out, and it wasn't pretty at practice. Players say that themselves. The players I've talked to said, I'm about as close to getting this guy. I get all like Brett Favre 4 passes first landed 2 of them were picks. Aaron Rodgers is good as I mean, I just went back and read
looked like a bust. Yeah, he looked awful like the first 2-3 years until the Dallas game. We all thought, man, this guy fell to 24 for a reason, because he sucks, and then he came out and was awesome against Dallas.
Totally. I made him bad. Remember that San Diego season game, right? And then he got in a little bit of the regular season. Maybe that blowout was ugly. He didn't look good.
His foot.
He improved. Like your veins on some side of Aaron Rodgers. They saw. Whether it was that man had to inside of him, all that. There was something that Ted Thompson saw that eventually is gonna rise to the top, and you're gonna have a special quarterback. You talk to people, Jordan Love. They see something special in this guy. Like when everything was just going absolutely. Haywire around Utah State last year. It's down 4 line, down his top receiver, starting tight end, starting running back. Everybody sucks. He's having to constantly scramble, create, make something out of nothing. Every single play, like that. Nothing's perfect in the pocket's gonna break down. You're gonna have to be creative. You're gonna have to be a baller. And he wasn't able to do that on the scout. He's pretending to be somebody else, right? And coaches are constantly trying to teach him this offense. Didn't even see him in the preseason. He had a chance to lead a shitty preseason game, touchdown drive. That happened to have the stadium like had to have that opportunity. So how can anybody draw a conclusion on this guy? Whether it's the teammates, coaches, whether it's outsiders analyze him. Ross, I thought was great. He's worked for the Eagles, Bills, obviously the Giants. I know he's an NFL Network. He loved
more than Justin Herbert, more than Tua. Like there could be something special in him. And to your point, Jake, maybe you put those nuts on the table a little earlier than you thought. And you're going to do it eventually. Like, if you're taking him in the first round and you're Brian Gutekunst, eventually you're going to Jordan Love. Aaron Rodgers just sped up the timeline a little bit. He, maybe he's trying to expose you. Maybe he's trying to say, hey, look, I'm going to force you to play this guy who isn't ready. But look, embrace that player, surround him with the talent you have, create an environment where he can succeed, and just move forward. And look, if you go 5-11, 6-10, who cares? That's what your record was in 2008 in Rodgers' first year.
So we've got everything fixed. I just want to jump in because I'm getting a lot of comments here about talking about Tyler's audio. And now the best producer in the game, me, figured out I just pushed a button and got lucky, basically.
So it was basically your fault, Jacob.
Oh, and it appears that way. I'm not sure why, because that's never happened. I've had Ty on this show, and it was fine the first time, but whatever. We've got it fixed. We've got it figured out. If you guys missed the first part of it, basically what he said the entire time, Jordan Love is awesome. He's going to be Patrick Mahomes, and Aaron Rodgers sucks, and they should get rid of him anyways. So,
run
no,
that on ESPN. Yeah.
Well, go ahead. Well, it wouldn't be the first time we've been on ESPN, so I will say that.
No, just talk some shit on Tom Brady, and you get on ESPN. I think, it's interesting because, you want to go deep into the weeds and talk about what if there was a preseason last year? How does that change the narrative this year? If Jordan Love goes out there and you go, wow, this kid's good. Like, he could really be something. Like, are Packers fans more willing to be like, kick rocks, 12? We'll do this again. We'll just run it back with another great quarterback. And even Aaron Rodgers, how does he view it? We have no idea. We don't know more about Jordan Love today than we did April 23rd or whatever it was, 2020. We don't know. We have no idea what they have in this kid. And I know the piece that you wrote, and I want you to reiterate what you said, because you were still sounding all wonky when you talked about, and you were talking about the people around Jordan Love really believe in this guy. Can you talk to us a little bit about that and kind of what you've heard from people close to him?
No doubt. Is this good, Jake? You got the sound figured out?
Evidently,
Jake broke it again.
But I broke it again. I'm not sure why, but here, I'm going to try a few different things. But go ahead and keep talking. I'll play around. All
right. Well, I've got, just give me some kind of signal. All right, we're good.
You're good.
For now.
Well, at Utah State, sorry if you did hear me clearly, but what I was kind of just saying is, like, look, everything was going haywire around the guy. And he's down 4 linemen. He's down a starting tight end. He's down a starting running back. He's down his top 3 receivers. And I know his numbers weren't great. And you look in that conference and you think, what the hell? Why are you taking a quarterback in the first round with those kind of statistics? But, man, I thought that Mark Ross put it really perfectly. I mean, he's worked in front offices for 2 decades. He's on NFL Network now. And the way he said is like, look, it's never going to be clean in the NFL. You're going to have to improvise. You're going to have to create. The pocket's going to break down. I mean, all of Aaron Rodgers' best plays are, that second, third reaction and relying on instincts and being a gamer. And that's what Jordan Love had to do that last year at Utah State all the time. All the time. The year before with Yost, David Yost as coach, and he put up like those insane video game numbers. I mean, you saw the arm, you saw the accuracy, you saw the reasons he should be a first-round pick. But I think that second year almost impresses you more because, to use a basketball analogy like Mark Ross in our conversation, it's like he's constantly having to shoot off the dribble. There's a hand in his face. Tua at Alabama, receivers are wide open. The pocket's clean. It's a wide open 3. It's a layup. It's, anything you could ever want as a quarterback. So I think that Jordan Love is at his best in a game, right? When the bullets are flying and you have to just react. You have to just play. And like you guys were saying, you're not going to get that when he's on the scout team pretending to be somebody else literally the entire season. Yep. Like, players don't even know internally. Like, nobody on the outside knows. Packers don't even know because he hasn't been in that setting. So you have to believe in your conviction to take this guy. And I think Ron Wolf put it really well too. Like, look, they had conviction to take him where they did. Like, they're not dumb. They knew what they were doing. Like, they saw something in him, just like Ron Wolf saw something in this quarterback for the Atlanta Falcons who threw the ball 4 times and 2 of those passes were picked. Just like Ted Thompson saw something in Aaron Rodgers when he's just free falling on draft day. Like, you believe in him, just roll with it. Look, Aaron Rodgers doesn't want to be there. Like, he's made that very clear anonymously. He doesn't like anonymous sources, but I know he's communicating as an anonymous source right now. It's pretty clear he doesn't want to be there unless something drastic changes. And Jake, maybe you're right. Maybe he just sits there one day and says it was all a bunch of malarkey, smears. Don't believe everything. He's given himself that out. He's got that plausible deniability. But
he has, and that's kind of the running joke that we have is, and I think Jacob actually talked about it and is maybe even tweeted it. Is
my official prediction is
2 weeks from now he's good.
And he'll
going to come back and say, I didn't say any of that stuff. This is just the media trying to get clicks. Sit
down with McAfee, right? I mean, it could happen.
Yeah, that's it. And honestly, it probably will. It probably will. But Ty, I do want to ask you one question that I had slated for you is, are you surprised at the kind of the reaction that Packers fans have had? And I don't know, maybe your timeline is completely different than mine, but it seems a lot different than when the Favre Rodgers stuff. And mind you, Twitter wasn't around, but a lot of people on my timeline on Twitter are just kind of like, okay, 12, like, what's the deal, man? Like, chill. Like, how and how? I mean, what's your response? And is that something that you would have expected in this situation?
I mean, Packer fans are smart. Like they can see the situation for what it is, and that almost intrigues me more than anything with this whole melodrama, because this is a quarterback who does care deeply about the narrative, and he's masterful with it. Like, he really is, and so that means a lot to him. And you do hear a lot of voices in the national media, some in local, but a lot of national, like the Packers are idiots. Like, how could you let it get to this point? And oh my God, like, Brian Gutekunst should be fired yesterday. And like, if Aaron Rodgers is this unhappy, it's on you. You had this special talent. I don't know, I could be wrong. I feel like that's like the overwhelming chorus, when you turn on the TV. But then when you actually talk to Packer fans, like, they get it. They see the situation for what it is. Like, this is a quarterback that has 3 years left on his contract. The ball is literally in his court. He has it in his hands. As long as he plays at or near 2020 level, Jordan Love never sees the field. They have to trade him eventually. Like, it's up to Aaron Rodgers. If he likes Green Bay at all, he just stays in Green Bay. Like, if they're willing to make you the highest paid quarterback, and that means something to you, and football means something to you, if winning matters, then you just stay in Green Bay. Like, it's your job until, until you stink, basically. I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to stink anytime soon, which tells me, like, if it's gotten to this point and they've had all these conversations and they've taken these trips to California, he is freaking dug in. Like, he has a burr in his saddle, to use Ron Wolf's words. Like, he's not going to budge. I think I'm with you. I think there could be that moment still where he's sitting down and says it was all, a bunch of people, but I don't know. I mean, I think that this is principled in his mind, and I can't see him changing his mind with time. I think the Packers want to give it that time and see if he cools his jets, kind of like Russell Wilson did. Russell Wilson was even more vocal, publicly than Aaron Rodgers, and then eventually, they figured it out. I don't know. I don't know if we're going to get to that point. Everything I'm told is that it's kind of the same spot it's been for a while now.
To the question I have off of that is, you're talking about how Aaron Rodgers pretty well. I mean, you used to sit down with him for an hour and a half, 2 hours, several hours at a time to go through stuff at the end of the season. You said you feel like he feels like this is principled, and if you're talking about how your best situation for winning is in Green Bay, your best situation for your legacy is in Green Bay. Okay, then what's the deal here? What's he so? I mean, I'm asking you to speculate a little bit here, I guess, but what's got him so in a bunch that he's telling people, teammates, everything, that he doesn't want to come back?
And you're right. We do have to speculate. I mean, because we don't have a choice right now. So we'll speculate. I think he's become Brett Favre, right? He's become kind of what he didn't like when he first came into the league. And Brett Favre back then, I think, looked around, 1265 Lombardi, and was like, shit, this is all here because of me. And he's probably right. Like, are they putting those renovations in without Brett Favre? Like, are they as financially viable without Brett Favre? Are they a perennial winner without Brett? Like, he made the Packers. I mean, they were not the same franchise in 1991 than when he left. I mean, it was like a completely different operation. He changed the town, he changed the state, everything. And I think that with that, Favre probably thought, I should have a say. Like, I should have a little bit of say around here with personnel and the guys we bring in and the guys we let go. And Ted Thompson wasn't going to budge, and that relationship was strained, as we all know. And that was probably central to it. Like, that Ted Thompson just stuck with that Packer way, and like, this is foundation. This is just how it's run. Aaron Rodgers seems to have gotten to that point. I mean, I'm sure he looks around and is like, there's the Titletown district, 34 acres of Mark Murphy going down on a sled in a football field for fans to throw the ball around, and Hinterland beer, which is great beer, by the way. Every time I get back, it's great. Like, he's seen all this and more renovations, And he's probably thinking, well, I'm a 3-time MVP. I just proved to you. I still got a lot of game left. Where's my say? Like, I deserve to do more than just throw a football around. I should have a say in the front office. And if you want to have that argument, like, by all means, you can have it. I don't think in Green Bay, like, they're going to bend. Like, nor should they. The Packers have to look out for the Packers. And like you said, Jake, like Aaron Rodgers is really good at playing football. There's a huge difference between playing a sport at the top, like, absolute best level imaginable and running a team. Look at Michael Jordan and the Charlotte Bobcats and the Charlotte Hornets.
Yep.
I'm a fan, but he's run them into the ground until they lucked into LaMelo Ball this year, I guess. There's no guarantee that Aaron Rodgers is going to be a great GM. I'm sorry.
Look at LeBron.
It's a different job.
LeBron, you mean to tell me LeBron James doesn't have say over who played in Cleveland? And the only one he really didn't was Miami. Like, they let him do it. And those teams were great because he was there, but they stink now that he's gone. And Tristan Thompson is living the life, and he's got LeBron James to thank for that. I've got two things. I know I said two before, but I've got two things, and then we said a half hour. So
you know what? Yeah, but we had all those issues. We can keep it rolling, man. No doubt.
Keep it rolling. Okay. So my question for you is, we talked about this Friday at your happy hour, which, by the way, subscribers at golongtd.com get access to happy hour every Friday. The times do vary, but there have been a few different players, a few different execs. Jim Manos is in there all the time. He's been in NFL front offices, and Tyler has promised me a 1990s Green Bay Packer. I believe he promised that to me personally, is how that worked on Friday. If you don't believe me, check the tape. But I asked you
not to give anything away, but I texted a handful today, and they all want to come on, but they can't come on to this Friday. But they're coming. They're coming, I promise.
All right. Well, I can promise you I will be there. My question for you is, we talked about this Friday, Mark, and you've had some time to marinate on it. Mark Murphy was on the job for about 10 minutes when the Brett Favre shit hit the fan, basically. Favre leaves. Rodgers comes in. Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers, obviously. First ballot Hall of Famer, one of the best quarterbacks that's ever played the game. Now he wants out. Do you think that with this new structure, because the Packer way isn't really the Packer way where Ron Wolf said he had things. You know, there was some speculation that Wolf would have told his son Elliott, if he was offered the general manager job under this structure that they have, where everybody reports to Mark Murphy, not to take it. Because Mark Murphy theoretically could meddle in a decision like this, whereas they couldn't do that, obviously, when Wolf was there and Ted Thompson was there. My question to you is, do you think that Mark Murphy at any point, one, considers the fact that maybe he doesn't want to be the dude that sent two Hall of Fame quarterbacks packing? And two, do you think he might step in if Gutekunst were to say, yeah, let's just move on and trade him?
That's the multi-million-dollar question. I think it's different. Like you said, it's so much different than 2008 when Ted Thompson was really running the show, because Mark Murphy was so new onto the job. He wasn't just going to come in. Now, he did try to pay Favre off. I mean, if those reports were true, right? From what I remember, like,
yeah,
a lot of money to stay away.
$30 million and marketing and just all kinds of, basically to make it so the fans, we're still going to move on, but we don't want to see you in another uniform, basically.
Yeah. And maybe secretly they would love it if Aaron Rodgers would just retire. Maybe that's what they would, and take the money and not take the picks and the players and everybody.
Go host Jeopardy.
Maybe they're willing to call his bluff because they feel like the backlash from that wouldn't be nearly as bad from actually trading him. Even if you're getting so much for him, we can only speculate on what they're thinking. I can't see Mark Murphy like stepping in and saying no. Like, Aaron Rodgers is co-GM, he gets whatever he wants. Brian Gutekunst, like, this is how I just can't see that, because I mean he made it pretty clear to Aaron Rodgers when they hired Matt LaFleur. Like, enough of the stuff. Yeah, don't be the problem. Enough of that stuff from 2018. We can't have it. Like, we've got to clean this up. I feel like he has kind of wielded his power, but I feel like he's wielded it in a way where he's not just going to give it to one particular player, Aaron Rodgers or anybody else. I think he still wants to have this organization be some kind of well-oiled machine. I'm not saying it's perfect. The Packers aren't blameless here. They should have known what they were dealing with in Aaron Rodgers for sure. And the communication structure, we could debate that, but I just can't see him telling Gutekunst, no, like, you're going to do this because I want you to do. I feel like it's still given him an element of power that he should have, frankly, as a general manager with the way things are built.
And just jumping in with, the Brian Gutekunst thing of this is, Gutekunst every year around this time is the least popular person on Packers Twitter because he never drafts who they want him to. They don't, well, other than the 1 year, they don't sign every big name free agent. They've got the same receivers, blah, blah, blah. But if you look at this Packer, I'm telling you guys, somebody had a highlight of the Monday night 49ers game in 2018 come up. It is remarkable to look at the dudes on that team that are still not on this roster or have been reduced as far as their contributions significantly. If you look at the guys, I know a good majority of the best players on this Packers team still were drafted by Ted Thompson. But you look at some of the real key contributors and some of the guys, Ty, you've talked to a few of them. Jay Sternberger, that's Jake and I's best friend. So I think he knows that somewhere too. But, that's one. AJ Dillon, Jair Alexander, just so many high impact players that Gutekunst has added for a team that really was. Everybody pitches this Packers team as Aaron Rodgers, and I don't have a better phrasing, but the little sisters of the poor. Right. And it's just not like it isn't anymore. He's got the best receiver in the NFL. He's got a top running back. They have the best offensive line in football. And that wasn't the case 3 years ago. 3 years ago, the right side of their offensive line was Brian Bulaga on one leg and Byron Bell. It was bad. Their left guard was Lane Taylor, who's good, but he's not Elton Jenkins. I think Gutekunst is getting the brunt of some of these issues because I call it the NBA-ization of fandom. And that is what you watch the NBA, Ty. You just said the Charlotte Hornets and LaMelo Ball. If he wields that level of power one day and says, I want to be traded to the Lakers, guess where he's getting traded? To the Lakers. And it doesn't matter what it's for. So I just find that part of everything interesting that Gutekunst, everybody's like, oh, it's just simple. Like, get rid of him. Like, I mean, the end of Ted Thompson wasn't great. You guys have seen what happens when you have Aaron Rodgers and bad management or declining management, because I don't want to knock Ted too much, but above him, I don't understand that. So I wondered what your thoughts were on Gutekunst and what he's done in his, short tenure. And obviously you covered him during your time on the beat as well, when he was doing a bunch of different stuff. He got his title changed like 1 million times.
Yeah. I mean, I think he's right in his prime as a general manager. Like, and talk about free agency. They've signed guys during the season who have been contributors. And then obviously in free agency, I mean, they've gone after the veteran NFL player, which was such a foreign concept with Ted Thompson. I mean, just wouldn't go there, like during the season, after the season, whatever. And that's the kind of player you need in the playoffs to win that street fight. Like, you need as Darius Smith just screaming off the edge. They've gone after that player. They've been aggressive to go after that player. I think they would have gone after that player this spring from what I was told, if Aaron Rodgers was willing to restructure his deal in a way that would allow as such. The Packers aren't necessarily going to put that out into the media because they don't talk to the media. But yeah, I mean, we're having a different conversation.
To be fair, neither does Aaron Rodgers. So
he does in different ways, right? Like that, because that dominant narrative, to your point, Jake, is where are the weapons? Where's the supporting cast? Why is Aaron Rodgers constantly swimming upstream? Like, it's a fallacy. It's just incorrect. I mean, Marquez Valdes-Scantling led the league in yards per reception. I know he has the drops, but he's a big play threat. Robert
I didn't know that until you said that yesterday. And I follow this team plenty, but I mean, you're talking Tyreek Hill, like just Stephon Diggs, you name these down the field threats. Marquez Valdes, and granted, he has fewer catches. I understand that, but he was the best, most productive, maybe not the best, but the most productive receiver on the field in the NFC Championship game.
Brian Gutekunst has done such a good job at just, drafting that athletic, physical freak that can project to the NFL. How many receivers are built like MVS and can run like MVS and are athletic? I mean, he's just different. There's not a lot of receivers that have his tools, so they gambled on it and it worked out. AJ Dillon, I mean, he's 250 with 7.8 body fat. That's not real. Like, that's just insane. Like, I think he'll blow up this year. We haven't seen what he can even bring to the table yet. So, and they've been able to, that Ted Thompson approach to free agency. Yeah, he's gone after other guys, but he's taken Ted's negotiated. Maybe it's Russ Ball on getting guys on your terms to stick around. I mean, Aaron Jones on their terms. It's really a 2-year deal, $20 million. That's doesn't break the bank really. Kenny Clark, one of the best D tackles. So I don't know. I mean, like I get it. Aaron Rodgers is a Hall of Famer, but you also have a GM who's doing a hell of a job, who's in his prime, who's proven to draft very well, proven to work free agency very well. I don't think if you're Mark Murphy, you necessarily just want to throw all of that into the trash and say, all right, Aaron, you run the show here now. Like Jay Kumro had 1 catch for 22 yards with the Bills. Didn't exactly set the world on fire. Sorry. Jordy Nelson was slow and finished after 1 year decaying with the Raiders with everybody else out there. I mean, with John Gruden, I mean, I don't even know what Gruden was trying to do that year. Like, I mean, I don't think that they're putting the Packers over the top.
And that's why you have that guy in that position as the GM to separate yourself from the human element of it. Like, I don't fault Aaron Rodgers for being bummed that Randall Cobb and Jordy Nelson and even Kumaro weren't on the team. Like, I get that. Like, anybody that's been a part of a team or been a part of even like at work, yeah, there's people you like to work with, and sometimes they're no longer with you, and you have to rely on the fact that, hey, there's someone above me, above my pay grade, making those decisions, and I'm going to believe in them. And I think fundamentally that's been the issue since Aaron Rodgers dropped in the draft in 2004 or whenever it was, is can this guy be coached? Can this guy fit into a system? Can this guy fall in line and understand that he is not the center of the universe? And he, no matter how good he is, and he's really damn good, we know that. No matter how good he is not bigger than this team. And I think we are just seeing that come to a head through almost 20 years of him being in Green Bay. And Ty, to your point, and maybe that's why for the Packers, if they want to say, hey, we're the Green Bay mother effing Packers, we don't bend to the will of anybody. Sorry, we don't. Yeah. And Aaron, thank you so much for what you've done for this team the last 16 years. Thank you so much for the position you put us in financially. But if you're going to act this way, again, we're the Green Bay mother effing Packers, and we are going to continue to do what we do. And that's kind of what your piece was about with the Jordan Love pick, and saying, this is how we do things. And so fall in line. And to quote Aaron Rodgers, his not his rookie year, but his first year as a starter, get on board or shut up. That is a direct quote from 12. And it is crazy how it has kind of come full circle. Yeah. And it's like, get on board or leave. And that's just kind of where we're at. And I can't believe we're sitting here having this conversation, but we are. And it's like, okay, 12, is it time to go?
That was so well put, Jake. I mean, it's so true. Like, you have to be callous. There has to be you have to be able to make tough decisions if you're running an organization. Like, you can't let emotion enter the equation. They haven't let emotion enter the equation. That's how they've been able to win and win and win as the smallest city, smallest market in the NFL by far. I looked it up. I didn't know Green Bay was, God, it was in my story, like the 278th largest city in the country, something like that. Like, wow. Something insane. Like if you're going to win, if you're going to be like this miracle of a franchise, like you probably got to do things a little different. Yeah, you're going to have to be callous. You're going to have to strip emotion from it. You're going to have to look out for yourself and maybe draft a quarterback while you still have a quarterback. And Aaron Rodgers' feelings are hurt, maybe justifiably so, after winning his 3rd MVP. But if it's still bad, if it's still a situation that seems untenable in your Green Bay, why not go on the offensive? Why not chart this organization in a new direction and just say, all right, we're all in on Jordan Love? How many teams with Hall of Fame quarterbacks, I mean, go through the list, are able to just get a king's ransom for that quarterback at the end of their career? I mean, it can be a positive. I mean, you can spin this as glass half full, new day, new era, believe in Jordan Love. It doesn't have to be the world is ending and that's that. So we're going to see what happens, fellas. I mean, it could still go a lot of different directions. He's given himself that out. He really has. I just can't see it. I'd be shocked. I mean, the players I've talked to don't even know what's going on. I mean, he's not he's not telling some players that I thought he would tell. I'll say that. Like it's being kept very close to the vest, but the people I have talked to maintain it's not at a good place right now at all.
And that's the weird part. That's where, I told somebody there's going to be a million twists and turns before this thing even finishes up. And that could finally turn with, Rodgers going public and saying, yep, I want out of here. Or it could, do the smear campaign thing, this scenario where I discussed earlier. Ty, last one before we let you roll. You were talking about trading Aaron Rodgers. And obviously we know the June 1st idea and everything like that. When do you think, because you were there at the summer of Favre, and something I really appreciate that you said the first time we spoke about Go Long was this is a human game played by humans. Football is. And I remember the 2010 Minnesota Vikings and going down in late August and begging Brett Favre to come back and basically kissing the ring, so to speak, for him to come back and play quarterback. But he clearly was not all in on playing for that Vikings team or playing football at all. You guys might remember the Vikings stunk that year. And, the biggest challenge I think Matt LaFleur has this year, whether Rodgers comes back or not, is trying to navigate through that storm of there are players, this, I know this, that are like, he can go, forget him. We'll go on to the next guy if he doesn't want to be here kind of thing. And there are obviously players that are going to be pro Aaron Rodgers. It's very similar to the Nick Foles and Carson Wentz story from, a couple years ago in that fact. But what I say all that to say is Rodgers, if he doesn't come to the voluntary stuff, that is what it is. That can very easily be passed off as well. These guys, nobody's coming to those things this year. He's just going to work out at home. If he misses the mandatory mini camp, it becomes a distraction. And if he is not there at the start of training camp, it's a massive distraction. I mean, you said you were there the summer of Favre. You remember family night when he showed up on a plane and it was just, it was insane.
I was at the airport with Corey Dellenbach at the Shawano Leader. We were waiting for the plane to land. Yeah.
And the Packers, the only thing that changed about that 07 team that went to the NFC Championship game was the quarterback, and they stunk. They went 6-10. They had some injury issues, but they stunk. And I think it's because you had guys that weren't all in one way or the other. At least that was part of it. So when is the deadline to where Green Bay has to say, okay, he's either coming or we're sending him away? Because I don't think, something I have seen from some people is let him sit, call his bluff. I don't think that's beneficial to the Packers to just let the court, if you do the whole, because that could very easily be spun as you forced him to retire, some of the stuff that we talk about with the Lions and Barry Sanders and Calvin Johnson. I don't think that's beneficial to the Packers. So when is the hard set deadline of they have to make a decision on he's either coming or, like you said, we're going on the offensive?
I wish we could disagree on something, guys, because I completely agree, Jake. I don't know how you take this into training camp. I don't know how you welcome that circus. It would be insane. And I think Aaron Rodgers will be dug in. He already is dug in to that extreme where I think he's willing to miss mandatory minicamp practices and miss training camp practices and miss games. He's got more money than we can comprehend. Money to him is nothing. He'll millions of dollars. I think if he's really principled with this and really, really, really willing to be this dug in, which it seems like he is, he's going to be okay losing money. So if you're the Packers, go on the offensive, right? I don't think you can let it get to day one of training camp. I think if it gets into training camp, you're asking for trouble for the reasons you said. Within the team, yeah, the guys love Aaron Rodgers. Absolutely, they love Aaron Rodgers. They want to play with one of the best quarterbacks ever. But if he doesn't want to be there, and you're in this awkward position where he's on the outside fighting that game of PR, trying to get people to take his side of things publicly, and the Packers are kind of trying to yank him back and convince him to come back. Yeah, we got Jordan Love and we got Blake Bortles, and we're trying to. You're existing in two different galaxies. That doesn't. It's not going to work. And you lived it, and it's really crazy here where we got to remember. You can't say this enough. Brett Favre wanted back in. Aaron Rodgers wants out. He wants out. It'd be easier for the Packers to sell. Okay, if a player doesn't want to be here, gone. You're gone. We'll see it. Like, we're going to build with what we have. And guys could rally around that to an extent. Look, it's going to be ugly probably at times. Like, you're not fielding an MVP quarterback. It's going to be a little different, but you have to look after your franchise. You cannot let this linger. It will poison you from the inside. Like, I don't know, drop dead. I would think the start of training camp. I would think June 1st hits. If nothing's changed, the Packers would be insane not to at least think about a trade. You know, you have to. Because we haven't talked about this, guys, but I think that threat of retirement is real. I don't think that's just, you know, a ploy by Aaron. I don't think he just used jeopardy to create leverage. I mean, it worked out pretty well. I mean, to have that, but I think he would be willing to retire if that's where his head was at, because we know he's different. Like, he's got other interests.
Yep.
That he does. And I think so. Last thing we got here, it's week 1. It's September 12th, 2021. Aaron Rodgers is taking a snap for.
Man, if I'm just going to guess, I'm going to say the Denver Broncos. I think they've got a lot of young players they could package. They've got the picks they could package. It's in the AFC. That'd be, I mean, it's just a guess, but I'd say Denver. You know, it would be fun to see how he, you know, to my knowledge, he doesn't have a no trade clause, so the Packers would.
Nope, doesn't.
Right. They could have some fun with this, but also a team is going to give you more if they know Aaron Rodgers wants to be there. So I think for all those reasons, Denver makes sense. Although, I mean, John Gruden with Aaron Rodgers, like, would love to see how long that lasts there with Gruden's
minutes.
stranglehold of the position.
Yeah, 20 minutes. There's no way that I think Denver's the team that matches up the best. You know, Morley mentioned at the top of the show some of the pieces they could send, and obviously they have some cap space. So a year from now, you know, they could trade some of the, maybe a younger receiver and a younger tight end, because there's a receiver and a tight end that Rodgers has played with that have expiring contracts. And maybe that's, I will say this about Jordan Love before we let you go, and just something I want you to think about, and feel free to send me over on something. But has there ever been a first-year starter? Say the Packers make that deal and it's 2 firsts, a third, Jerry Jeudy, and Noah Fant, just to throw those names out there on the table. And you add that to what the Packers already have in 2021. Is there a first-year starter that's been in a better situation from the standpoint of they've got these guys on defense, they've got that and more now on offense, and Matt LaFleur calling plays? That's just something I think that would be, that's a positive that you can look at if you want to spin it in a positive. He's Tyler Dunne. You can follow him on Twitter at Ty Dunne. You can find him golongtd.com. And I will say this is Game On Wisconsin does not exist without Tyler Dunne. Met him in 2014 when I was interning for Packer Report. And you got me through that. You weren't the only one, but you got me through that draft weekend. So forever appreciative of that, and wish you as much luck as I can with Go Long, and subscribe to that. I'll tell you guys, as somebody who's participated in some of those happy hours, is that alone is worth your subscription. It's 2 cups of coffee a month for you guys to do it. And it's well worth the subscription. So Ty, anything else that you've got in the pipeline or anything that you want to promote for us?
Oh, well, thanks for those kind words, man. All I remember from that 2014 draft is that Aloe Black commercial, I'm the man, playing nonstop and wanting to blow our brains out collectively in that auditorium at Lambeau.
You, me, and Paul Imig. I don't think that song has left our heads since that happened.
Oh, my God. That was fun. No, man, hey, those happy hours are a blast, and we're going to keep them rolling through the off season. It's great to meet people on there and really try to build a community, you know. Go longs, it's the whole NFL, you know, just trying to tell a story you haven't read before, something deeper, humanize the game. But I'm not dumb. I know a lot of these subscribers are Packer fans, so I'm going to lean into the Packers as much as possible. So we'll keep following this story and have some interviews lined up with some Packer players. So there'll be some profiles coming and some team stories. Maybe those Chicago Bears are on the docket. Been poking away at what's happened there at the quarterback position. So, yeah, definitely would love people to give us a shot. A couple cups of coffee a month, like you said.
My sources tell me that's where quarterbacks go to die. So that part at least is in. That's something. There you go. There's an anecdote you can use in your story if you'd like.
There it is.
Jim McMahon said that. So that's word for word what he said. But Ty, appreciate you stopping in. If you guys want to check out his site again, it's golongtd.com. He just got a story. He talked to Ron Wolf, Packers Hall of Fame general manager. He's got a couple stories on Jordan Love. He's got a story on what he would do for Aaron Rodgers in that situation. And the first story, maybe it was the first story that Go Long ever published. Or at least it's the first one I ever read. I do know that, but it was about the succession plan. And it's not just Jordan Love and Aaron Rodgers in there. You get some good insight on AJ Dillon and Jay Sternberger and Alan Lazard and some of those dudes that are in that story. So if you guys want that, like I said, $70 a month. Ty, appreciate you stopping by. We'll have to do this again for sure.
$7 a month too. Don't that 70 a year. I promise it's not that much a month.
Excuse me. Yes.
No.
Yes, seven a month.
Thanks so much, fellas. This was a lot of fun.
Again, that was Tyler Dunne, he of golongtd.com. Jake, we're at almost an hour. Appreciate Tyler for giving us that much time. Again, apologies to you guys for the audio issues. We threw some Band-Aids and some bubble gum and some shoestrings and we made it work. So that was good. Jake, we've got about 3 minutes, and I know we wanted to wrap up the draft and everything like that, but quite frankly, as soon as that story hit, that's all the draft was going to be about, because it doesn't matter at that point really for 2021 who the Packers pick, unless Aaron Rodgers is going to be their quarterback, or the view of this team changes dramatically based on who their quarterback is. I think that's the biggest thing. So I asked Ty, 2021 September 12th, that's the first day of the season, and the Packers will take on the New Orleans Saints. But my question to you is, Aaron Rodgers is taking snaps for who?
Packers. I mean, until he isn't, I'm just kind of in that camp. Like, and that's what I was trying to relay to Ty. Like, I'm with him. Like, if I'm Goody, I'm trading him. Like, I'm sick of it. That's me personally. I'm sick of it. Like, I watch the Packers to enjoy them. I enjoy their success, but it's not a no holds bar type deal. Like, I enjoy rooting for the player that is going to be all in on the success of the team that I enjoy watching. And if Aaron Rodgers does not want to be all in on the success of the team that I enjoy watching and I enjoy rooting for, peace. Goodbye. With that said, he's not going anywhere. I just really don't think he's going anywhere. I mean, all this stuff, and you and me, we've talked about it. It just doesn't make a lot. I just have a hard time seeing it happen. I really do have a hard time seeing it happen. I just don't know how this team gets rid of him at this point. One, it's really hard to trade him. His contract is not set up in a way for him to be traded. Even post June 1st, it's still not ideal. It's better. And I think that's something that's getting lost. It is better post June 1st. It is not ideal post June 1st. So it would have to take a king's ransom, and I would take it, but I don't think the Packers will. And I'll kick it right back to you, Jacob. Who's he playing for week one?
Well, for the king's ransom point I want to make here, I honestly don't know if a team's going to offer that, because, I think that at the end of the day, they're going to want to put together as much as and we talked about the Broncos and what a trade could look like for him and all that stuff. And that's all well and good, but there's, a few things at play. One, Denver then has to not punt, because they'll be better because they have Aaron Rodgers, but they're not a Super Bowl team if they have to gut their team like that just to acquire the quarterback. So you're talking about a transition year for a quarterback who probably doesn't want a transition year. And hey, 12, if you want to stick around in Green Bay, you don't need to have a transition year. You can just compete for a Super Bowl now. My official prediction, and I've said this, and I think that what I want to tell everybody is anything I tweet to the contrary is me just being an asshole, for lack of a better phrase, is I think that there will be, and maybe it's the optimist in me, maybe it's the fan in me, maybe it's my understanding of football, which admittedly the guy we just talked to, he knows people, he talks to people. I have a little bit of, knowledge on some stuff, but not a ton. I think at the end of the day, people do things to help their job security as well. And I know this, Jake, you know this as well. Let's say the Packers trade Aaron Rodgers. Jordan Love is the starter. He sucks, just completely goes in the toilet, and the Packers finish 3-14. Brian Gutekunst could be fired as soon as this time next year or January of next year, if that happens. I don't think that would, but it is possible. The other thing about it is, you're betting either way. It's a bet either way, right? So you're either betting on young Jordan Love or an aging Aaron Rodgers. I promise you, if he bets on Aaron Rodgers and loses, he'll get a chance to pick another quarterback. If he bets on Jordan Love and loses, he's going to get fired. And that is his legacy pick. And that's where, the ego thing comes into play. And maybe that's where Gutekunst just says, fuck it. That's my guy. That's the dude I picked. But, you listen to the things that James Jones and John Kuhn and AJ Hawk say, and AJ, the big thing for me was AJ Hawk saying he's not retiring.
Yeah.
All right. So if he's not retiring, then he has dick for leverage to be in Green Bay or to not be in Green Bay. It's gone because you're not going to not play.
That's the thing, Jacob. Like, right. He's playing the only card he has if he's unhappy. This is it to say, hey, I'm unhappy. I'll retire. Okay. And that's literally it. That's all he can do. Like, people are not talking about that enough, that he has, like you said, he has dick for leverage. He has nothing besides, you're the MVP. Yeah, we want you to be the quarterback in Green Bay. No, you're not going to be the GM of this team. No, we're not going to surround you with 5 Jake Kumbaros. I'm sorry. And that's for your own good. Yeah.
And that's where it gets, just kind of out of whack. And it's the part that I don't understand, because Aaron Rodgers is a smart dude. Like, he is. He's one of the smartest people. He's the smartest guy in every room he walks into, I think, is the way Matt Miller put it when he was on our show at the beginning of this whole mess, before we even knew about some of this stuff. So you asked me, where do I think my official prediction is the Green Bay is going to bend a little bit. They're going to say, hey, you want to give some input on some personnel stuff? We'll listen to that. That doesn't mean that if we say, hey, we're taking Jordan Love, you're going to say, no, you're taking T Higgins, and we're taking T Higgins, but we'll take your input. Sometimes we'll listen. Sometimes we won't. We'll give you that contract extension. Jordan Love will never play quarterback in Green Bay if that is, unless barring a massive injury kind of thing. And I think Aaron Rodgers will bend a little bit from the fact of saying he didn't want to return, and he'll be back. And I think that, the good news on that is, if Aaron Rodgers is back and they can figure this out before training camp, this team is a Super Bowl contender. The concern I would have, and the schedule just came out today, obviously, is this a big enough distraction to deter the team from that locker room chemistry, that cohesiveness, something that has been a team strength for the last 2 years. But Aaron Rodgers, I believe, takes snaps next season for the Green Bay Packers. And, if this were 2022 and he was doing this and it made a little more sense on a trade side of things, maybe it'd be different. But right now it's not. So I think 12 is going to be the quarterback in Green Bay. That being said, I'm kind of with you. There's a sour taste in my mouth, so to speak, with the way that this has been handled, because I feel like the adjective I keep coming back to is childish.
Yes.
And I firmly believe that that's what's taking place right now. But we'll see. We've got a long way to go. June is next month. Obviously, it's May 12th as we sit here and do this. We'll find out what day training camp starts here soon, because the schedule came out. And we'll kind of go through all of that stuff. I want to thank you guys for.
Wait, Jacob, just real quick before you start signing off, because this is an NFL draft podcast, and we haven't mentioned one NFL draft pick from the Packers that we spent months leading up to. Really quick, who is the Packers rookie of the year for 2021-22?
Josh Myers. I think he's going to start at center. And I believe that he can be in 2021 what Corey Linsley was as a rookie in 2014. So I like Myers. I know the popular answer, and maybe the one you'll go with, is going to be Amari Rodgers. And I see that fit obviously as well. I just think that, and especially if 12 is the quarterback, if 12 is back, there's just so many targets that go to Devontae Adams and Aaron Jones and Robert Tonyan. And MVS too. And just, there's a bigger fight to get the football for, even if they're going to have those forced touches for Amari, it's going to be tough on that. So real quick on yours, and then we'll sign off.
I was going to say Amari Rodgers is, I think, kind of the darling pick, right? Especially if 12 is back. And you just mentioned, like, how many touches is he going to get? I don't know. But he's really the only offensive skill position guy they took. And And I don't think, defensively, we haven't even talked about Eric Stokes, who should be the pick, as the rookie of the year, because he probably has the clearest path to playing. But we'll see, man. It'll probably be some Chris Barnes type guy, like it usually always is. Some guy we're not even talking about right now that just comes out of nowhere and plays really well for the Packers. So we'll see.
Shamar Jean Charles. Kim, somebody noticed. I'll say this. If the quarterback wants to be passive aggressive, so can I. So that jersey's always been there. It's just been a little bit further down the wall. But if the quarterback wants to be passive aggressive, so can I. And he does not care what I think or what my opinion is, but I thought it was funny. I appreciate somebody noticing that. I didn't think anybody would, but thank you guys for that. Thank you guys for listening to our show all off season. Jake and I had a lot of fun. We enjoyed talking with you guys. I want to thank our guest group again here that we've had come through here. First of all, we did that snake draft thing and nobody won. So
I said that though. I was like, chances are it's tough. It's tough to get one. Especially this year, the Packers went like off the grid as far as everything we thought they would do.
Correct.
Not in a bad way. Just RAS Stokes and Myers are both high athlete upside guys, but beyond that, not people we talked about. Not that I'm mad about it. I love this draft class.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that, and we'll have to talk about that when we get into training camp, regular season type stuff. But frankly, the quarterback situation, that's the storyline until it's not anymore. So as far as our guests, I did this last week, but I want to do it again. Kent Swanson, Matt Miller, Eric Crocker, Jace Sternberger, Owen Reese, Andrew Mertens, Ben Fennell, Russ Brown, Eric Crocker again, Eric Edholm, and anybody who was in on that draft party. We had a lot of fun doing this. I promise you we'll be back next off season and doing all of this again. And maybe we'll figure out some stuff to do during the season as well, but it's going to be a lot of fun. The schedule release was today. Head over to our Instagram page. It's instagram.com/GameOnWI. Dan Kotnick and Matt Freilich are going to check and go through the schedule with you guys. And maybe Game On Wisconsin has a little party plan that you might want to keep your eyes out for now that we know the home schedule and they're planning for full capacity stadiums. So keep your eyes tuned to Game On Wisconsin. Thank you guys for dealing with us during the off season. We very much appreciate that. Again, one more reminder here to check out those guys. They're coming up next on our Instagram page. But I appreciate it, Jake. Appreciate doing the show with you. Always a lot of fun anytime we were able to get together, and we'll see what happens during the regular season. But until then, follow me on Twitter. I'm at Jacob Westorf. You can follow Jake Morley. He's at Jacob Morley. And appreciate you guys stopping by, and we'll see you next time.